What's up, YouTube? How's it going? I'm back again for another random video. So lately I've been obsessed over the Benet Ramsey case. I'm subscribed to the 60 Minutes Australia, and they started talking about it. And I heard about this little girl being killed back when I was a kid. And we were right around the same age. She's about a year younger than me. I'm now 35. So yeah, I grew up with this stuff. And one day it just like faded away. So I've watched hours, and I mean hours, of documentaries and podcasts on this shit. Like, I was obsessing over it for a while because it just baffles my mind that the parents could do something so cruel. And then I looked at the other side of it, if someone broke in, all that crap. So I'm going to be going over my opinion, what I think about the case. I don't want to drag this video on too long. I don't want to make it too long, so let's cut to the chase. What I think happened, if I had to put in perspective what I actually think happened, I actually think one of two things. Either Patsy Ramsey got extremely irritated with her daughter. Now you have to understand, she was living through her kid. I'm not going to go into detail because this will be a long ass video. Anyone that knows about the Ramsey case knows what I'm talking about. Now, she was living through her daughter because she was a pageant winner. So that's kind of cool. You know, you get obsessed over certain things. And a lot of people are saying, oh, she couldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, what if, you know, such and such situation happened where she got pissed off at her kid, you know, maybe threw a book at her, threw something at her, was just like so irritated, just like F you, kid, you know, I don't want to swear too much, and had enough, you know, John was always gone. He was running a freaking multi-million-dollar company. You know, there's just so many points that just don't make sense in this, man. You know, think of the life she had. A maid. So the house was always well taken care of. They had lots of money, but Patsy wanted to do everything her way with John Benet. So, you know, when you give all the responsibility and authority on one parent, you know, eventually they're going to blow up, or they're going to say, I've had enough, you know, share it here. But she knew the life she had, and John was the moneymaker, so she didn't really have to do anything. She was a stay-at-home mom living in a freaking super wealthy neighborhood, super wealthy house. I think it just sold for like $7 million last year. And, you know, depending on the views I get on this video, what I think happened, I can make some more. I found lots of interesting things during all the videos I watched that just don't add up. Now, this woman can write with her both. She's ambidextrous, so she can write left and with her right hand. So on the Ramsey note, she didn't volunteer to write the note, which I found astonishing. She didn't volunteer to tell them that she was ambidextrous. But if you look at the note, it is almost written like, that doesn't really look like someone's handwriting. And it's so funny because when I first saw the note, I thought it was written with someone's left hand. Because when you look at people's writing, it's just like, it's like she was just like going like this. Like, you know, like when you hold a pen with the opposite hand, how it's written weird. That's what I saw when I saw the note. And to think, what guy says attaché? Look at the way the note was written. Come on, folks, it doesn't take much. She probably did something wrong to that poor kid. And, you know, at the same time with the garrote and how everything was done, I thought about this. You don't want to leave your hand marks on a child, because then that's evidence, right? Maybe she wasn't strong enough with the rope to wrap it around her kid's head, so she broke off the paintbrush, tied it like a garrote, and one and done it. You know, John was in the military. Maybe he taught her. You know, Patsy seems pretty prissy and high maintenance, right? So that's my theory. I think one way she did it, if that's the way she did it. There's so many theories. It just blows my mind. I don't even know what to take. I can talk for like an hour about this shit. Like, I was so dedicated to these videos. I'm just speeding stuff up here. You know, who drinks, a lot of people are saying, why was the milk left out? Like, no kid's gonna drink warm milk and pineapples. They want it cold, right? So if the little girl woke up during the night, why would she come downstairs and want to take that milk and pineapple? Why would Burke Ramsey get so pissed off? Like, it was probably sitting there for hours. Clearly he didn't want it, because in the pictures, in the videos, you see that it looks like it's not even touched. But the autopsy showed that she had pieces of pineapple or some form of food in her stomach. That's another thing they don't say. So they're like not 100% sure. And the thing is, she definitely died within the last 2 hours of eating, because the reason why they say she died at home, if anyone was following, is because it takes a few hours to digest food. And by the time it gets to your stomach, it takes a couple hours. So the food was already in her stomach, so then she must have died. The last thing she ate would have been pineapple, which was at her house. But she could have ate at the White's house. I know maybe they gave her that, but it's like the Ramseys don't really give anything unless they're asked. You know, like, these parents aren't grieving. John just seems numbed out by it. Like, he doesn't really give a shit. Maybe it's because his daughter died in a car accident years ago, and he's going like, fuck, not again, right? I mean, it's sad to say, because you love your children to death, but I've been to like 5 funerals in the last 3 years, and it's just like, yeah, they're my family. I get sad. It's just like, how much can you take? It's like you numb out. Maybe he's numbed out to it. Burke Ramsey was said to have Asperger's. That's why he's always smiling in the Dr. Phil videos. He's an odd character. I can't see a 9-year-old being that smart to know how to make a garrote. I could see him definitely wanting to hit her in the head. It was like, I'm sick of your shit. You're a spoiled brat. You're such a spoiled little kid. So I can either see Patsy getting mad, Burke getting mad, and then there had to have been a second person to want to finish her off. But the funny thing is, they're saying that the garrote was first. That's what did her in, because she was trying to, she had her she had her DNA under her fingernails. So they're trying to say that that's what did her in, or maybe the stun gun. But then a lot of people are saying that doesn't look like stun gun marks. They tested it on freaking pigs, seduced pigs or whatever. Seduced. Ew. Don't write that in the comments. I don't want to know about your wife. I'm just kidding. But sedated pigs and animals, and people are saying it's a certain type of stun gun. But back in the 90s, a lot of Americans were saying a lot of people didn't have stun guns. But I remember watching, the Batman and the Batman Forever movies or whatever, and the clowns had stun guns and shit. So I've creeped a lot of people's YouTube videos on their opinions. Now when it comes to John, it's so like to get back to my story. So they could have hit her on the head. That wouldn't have killed her. And that's why there was no blood, is that apparently the wound, the gash wasn't big enough to like fully open her skull. It just cracked her skull, not cracked her head. So they're saying that she was definitely put out. So there's no way she would have been able to fight back if she was being choked to death. So that's why they're saying the garrote came first. She got choked out first. And then a lot of people are saying that intruders came in with a rock and hit her on the head. That's another theory. As for John and how sketchy he was, he wanted to fly out of the country right away. They're like, you can't leave. Like, your daughter's fucking like missing. Or once they found her, they wanted to leave. And John says he never slept another night in that house ever again. I don't blame him. But a lot of shit just doesn't add up. And the only reason why I think they don't feel as innocent or as guilty is because they know they did it. So they know, they're just like, meh, good luck catching us. Or maybe after Patsy died and she was the one that did it, that's why John's like, good luck, But then again, with the Boulder police, there were so many things they fucked up. They like, after, another sketchy thing that just doesn't make sense is after Patsy Ramsey read the note, she invited all her friends over. Why would you want to contaminate the crime scene? Why would John go down, find the body after the cops showed up, and then take the tape off? Yeah, it's your son, it's your daughter, it's your loved one. That is a crime scene. You don't want to put your fingerprints on that shit at all. And the only reason why they never found any other DNA or fingerprints is because they probably freaking did it. You know what I'm saying? unless the intruder came in wearing gloves and all that stuff, like, it seems a little fishy, unless this guy that was the intruder done it a couple times to know, like, hey, this is what I gotta do to get away with shit. But everybody messes up. It just seems too calculated. It seems too, like, staged. Like, they're like, fuck, we screwed this up. Now we have to clean up our tracks. There's no fingerprints on the ransom note. Did you guys know that? What, they just left it on the ground and were like, oh, I don't want to touch it. Okay, so they thought that was DNA. They thought they can catch the perp with just the ransom note, but then they go downstairs and touch the body. Come on, man. Put 2 and 2 together. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like, shit, we already screwed ourselves this way, that way. Oh, now we gotta write that ransom note, because if we have a ransom note, then it will take us off of being guilty and maybe put another victim in here. And the funny thing is, if someone's gonna break in your home, you know, tiptoe, grab this little girl, don't you think he would have took the son too? You know, holy crap, I just tasered the little girl. Let's take the son too. Don't you think he would have, like, clubbed the parents in the head? Like, you're that freaking good at what you do. You don't think you'd want to take out the whole family? They said there's more than one person that broke in the house. I don't think anyone broke in the house. I don't. I truly don't think anyone broke in the house. It's too freaking... Sorry, folks, I'm just trying to park here. They heard a scream. Okay, so they heard a scream. The neighbors heard a scream, and that could have been John Benet, Patsy getting mad at her and wiped her out. Boom, They didn't hear a break-in. Don't you think you'd hear the break-in first and then a scream? So they didn't want to touch the ransom note. They let people in. Like, my mind's flooded with shit right now. I'm trying to think. There's so many other things that just don't add up. They wanted to leave the country. John pieced out. Don't you think you'd wait around the phone? If you read the ransom note, it says, do not call the authorities. If I woke up one morning and I saw a note, I'd be scared shitless. I wouldn't know what to do. If I knew my kid was actually gone, I would not have called the cops. I would have waited to see if this is a prank or something, and then I would have freaked out. But people do things differently when they're scared, right? People react differently. I remember when I was younger, I saw my ex having a seizure, and I called her mom, and she's like, Matt, you need to call 911. But I was so freaked out. I was just like, ah. So, and a lot of people are saying that Patsy Ramsey just scanned to the bottom of the ransom note. Well, yeah, you want to see who it's from. She read the top, she read the bottom. She's panicking, right? So I just find it weird that they would have just left it there. They didn't pick it up to look at it. There's no fingerprints on it whatsoever. But then they contaminate their whole house. You see what I'm saying? It just doesn't add up. Then they move the body from the basement upstairs. This poor child. And then the autopsy, the restraints that she was in, they weren't even that tight, he said. The freaking coroner said they weren't even on that tight. They could have just slipped right off as if they were just put on there. So what was the whole purpose of strangling her, killing her, and then putting her bound? Were they what I think happened, another theory I have, is that maybe they were planning on moving the body out, and if there was an intruder, it didn't go as planned, so then they killed her. But why would you not still take the body if there was an intruder? Why would you kill the girl and leave her there? If you already snuck in the house, why not take the body back with you? You want money, so then either dead or alive, they want their kid back. They got to bury their kid. They still want, like grieving parents. If your kid goes missing and you don't have anything to remember them by, any remains, you're willing to put up a reward. So that doesn't make sense. There's no way there was an intruder. There's no way. Someone in that house totally killed that little girl, and they had to stage it the best they could. They did a crappy job. They have tons of money, and then it kept them out of the eye of the public for all these years after they're being ridiculed forever, because right away the cops thought they did it. And you know what? I'm starting to believe that too. The cops must have done it. They must have done it. I think the cops were right. And I don't think we'll ever get justice because, John's almost ready to hit the grave himself. And then Patsy Ramsey died in 2006. Burke's the last one. I don't think Burke did it at all. John Ramsey said that he was sleeping all night because he took melatonin. Give me a break. Then Patsy, you can wake anybody up. And then Patsy Ramsey was found wearing her same clothes the next day. But she's like that kind of girl who goes to sleep with makeup on, you know. I've met some high profile women and some low profile women, and they still take off their makeup at night. Nobody goes to sleep with makeup on and wearing the same clothes. But maybe she just quickly wanted to wear them again. I don't know. I don't know that girl stuff. It just, that alone doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you be wearing different clothes? It's like she rushed downstairs knowing she was going to find the note, or that she was up all night staging the incident, right? It just, I bet you something happened with John Benet, and maybe Burke and her were fighting, and Patsy was like, I've had enough of you. You're a spoiled little brat. Whacked her one. And then, you know, John was probably sleeping. Patsy told John, shit, I did a bad thing. I lost my temper. I killed our kid. We have to protect Burke now. That's just my theory. I know it sounds a little rough. What parent would do that? But, you know, there's satanic cults. There's lots of weird stuff that we just don't know about that happen all the time. You know, what the scariest thing is what happens behind people's closed doors at their house, right? You don't know what's going on. And anyone that watches the news on a daily knows that there's a lot of weirdos out there. So who's to say that their own family wouldn't have done that? And, you know, just because you're a murderer once doesn't mean you're not ever a murderer. You know, Patsy could have killed her daughter just the one time, did a bad crime, and then, you know, look at me. I went my whole life without doing anything bad. That doesn't mean anything. You're a freaking murderer for the rest of your life. It's not just, oh, let me get away with it once. I only broke into a car once. Let's forget about it. That's not how it works, lady. You lost your temper once. It doesn't mean you're going to do it again. You might never do it again, but you still did it. So, and then a lot of people say, well, after like the age of 30 or so, if you don't ever commit a crime, you're less likely never to commit a crime. Less, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't mean it's never going to happen, folks. Open up your eyes. All this stuff doesn't make sense. There's no way someone broke in. Okay, if someone broke in, they would have took that body to get money. Plain and simple. They wouldn't have left it behind. They would have freaking killed her, walked out the front door. If clearly they got in without the burglar alarms, they can get back out without the burglar alarms. If clearly they walked around the whole entire house without waking anyone up, shit, it was a shut and closed case for that bad guy. There's no way. Because people aren't that good. People aren't that good. Well, maybe back then, because, you know, people didn't really have blink cameras and shit, but in today's culture, like, I got 4 cameras at my house. Good luck, bud. And, you know, people have cameras on their Teslas and stuff if you hit them. People are not very trustworthy. And we learned a lot from the 90s and before that that's the case. So it doesn't, I'm sure there's other things I'm missing here, but I don't think John did it. He probably did help cover it up because he's a smart man. He probably told Patsy to write the note, but then again, if she would have killed John Benet, her hand would have been shaking like crazy. So someone else had to write the note, right? Or who knows? What person writes a note that long staying in the house? That doesn't make sense. They're saying, oh, there was someone in the house before they got home from the Whites. Okay, I can kind of believe that. What, he's waiting underneath the bed? Like, where would this guy be waiting? The house is pretty fucking massive, but he'd have to hide somewhere, knowing that they weren't where he wasn't gonna be found. So it's obviously someone that knew that house pretty fucking good, if you ask me. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, I know there's lots of perverts and stuff that go to those pageants and lots of creepos. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I'm still leaning on the parents. I don't care what anyone thinks. It's the one that makes the most sense. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So if I miss anything, you got a comment or question, and you want to debate me, leave them down in the comments below. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. If you stayed to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up, a like. I'm almost at 10,000 subs. Getting closer. Help me out. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye for now.